shows lean left, some lean right, but we lean local and business. This is North Georgia Business RadioX with Phil Bonelli. For the next hour, we will celebrate the businesses in our area and the people that run them. Find us on Facebook at North Georgia Business RadioX and online at northgeorgiabusinessradiox.com. Now, here's Phil Bonelli.
Who do you do life with? I'm here today with Barry Lusk, Atlanta City Director of Iron Forums. Barry, welcome to the show, sir.
Great to be here, Phil. Thanks for inviting me in.
It's great to have you. Now, I got to tell you, a lot of the guests we have on the show, I generally know fairly well and have done, a good bit of vetting on. And Barry did not need a lot of vetting. I met Barry and I said, I got to get this guy on the show. It was a quick vet because I said, I want to hear from this fella. Our audience needs to hear
Someday
from this
I'd
fella.
love to hear why that was the case, Phil, but probably not now.
All right. Well, we might go into it now. But Barry, as I mentioned, he is the Atlanta City Director for Iron Forums. If you would, Barry, tell our audience, what is Iron Forums?
Iron Forums, we're a 501c3. We're a nonprofit organization that our goal is to reach men who own businesses, who want to grow deeper in their relationship with God, and who honestly care a lot about being better husbands and better dads. So it's a community where every man in there is very interested in, we'll call it holistic development in all those areas I've mentioned.
Okay. Focus on holistic development, and it's primarily entrepreneurs. It's a lot of entrepreneurs, business owners.
Yeah, our real ideal member, our target market is entrepreneurs. We do serve some nonprofit executive directors.
Okay.
We also serve some men who lead large teams out of a C-suite seat.
Right. All right. And when I hear this makes so much sense because if somebody is leading a team, whether that is a business that they have started or purchased, or they're just leading any group, they have influence, and their really holistic wellness matters more because they're touching more lives. Was that kind of what?
Absolutely. That is a big piece of it. And even as you share that, I think there's a lot of pouring out. These men do a lot of pouring out day to day. And this is an opportunity to come to a community where everybody is in a similar seat within their organization, and they get to pour into one another. So it's not just about coming and pouring out like they're used to doing. They're also able to receive from each other. It's that peer-to-peer, iron sharpening iron.
The peer-to-peer is so strong.
Yeah, man.
So strong. I have a mentor who's been a mentor of mine, Robert Mallon, for many years. And he really harps on that, like men in our culture, especially lots of times, that we're less just naturally relationship driven. And we have these images and these paradigms of like Clint Eastwood or John Wayne, and they're doing it alone. We got to go be strong and do it alone. And we're leading. And then if you're at the top, then no, you got to have, the iron does sharpen iron. If you're not getting sharpened, you're getting dull.
It does. I mean, I think back to my college days, and I actually chose my particular college to start I call it start over, or to turn over a new leaf, because my peers were influencing me. It just wasn't great influence. So I said, I want to go where they're not going so I can restart. And thankfully, I met a lot of wonderful people who helped influence me spiritually and called me to a higher purpose and equipped me and trained me. And man, I look back at those days as the most forming days of my life in those college years. And so it's fun getting to be now on this side of it. I'm 50 years old, and I get to now be a part of that kind of that life on life. Let's share it together. Let's push each other. Let's hold each other accountable. Let's give each other grace. It's a great environment.
I love it. If you are just joining us, welcome to North Georgia Business RadioX. I'm your host, Phil Bonelli, here with the, I can't believe he's 50, Barry Lusk. If we were video, if this was on YouTube, you wouldn't believe it either. But that's maybe Iron Forms helps keep you young.
Oh,
That's one thing. Put that on a T-shirt.
I like that, man.
But I love that because, yes, community is important, and it is so important, I have found, to be able to really open up and to receive and give reciprocally, to be with peers, with folks who you feel are in a similar battlefield every day.
Absolutely. And have a similar worldview to you, so that when you become transparent over your life challenges at a table, as you're sharing coffee or sharing a great meal at one of our venues, they can relate. They can not only relate because they're in the same seat, but they can give you the right perspective because they have the right worldview.
Right. Yes, it doesn't do a lot of good if you are talking about a problem with a customer or with your business, and the advice you're getting is based on an unethical money is all that matters paradigm.
Yeah.
Doesn't do you any good.
That's right. Or if I'm the one struggling with, I mean, let's be honest, we're not immune to that. If I'm the one struggling with the idol of money, I need those with a biblical worldview to help pull me out of that.
Right. And the accountability piece. And, really the accountability is not possible to receive from someone who is not a peer, or perhaps you look at as a mentor, someone you look up to. You got to have that equality to accept that.
There's a safety in that, right? Versus opening up to all your subordinates. We all want to open up to those where we feel safe opening up.
Right. I love that. I have in my life. I'll tell you, if you are a business owner, a business leader out there, or really anyone, and you are thinking about how you have been feeling alone on the mountain by yourself, don't stay there. Go and get with a group of like-minded individuals who can help you grow and you help them. Get in a tribe.
Yes. I mean, literally, neuroscientists are discovering we were designed for that. Like, we have the most joy in life when we are in community with each other. When we are showing each other we're glad to be with each other. That's joy. And honestly, without that, we don't get to experience the amount of joy that we were created to experience.
And I want to.
I do too.
I'm hanging out with you right now.
I'm having a good time.
It's the ball. You, me, and North Georgia's premier audio engineer, Bill Wilson, in the booth. We're loving life, man. It is all about relationships, and it's so interesting because you mentioned earlier about the receiving and giving. Because joy, you can't have the joy without that too.
That's right. That's right.
It's a beautiful thing. But there's something called blue zones, and in a nutshell, this fellow was doing research on certain communities have a higher than normal number of centenarians, people who live to be 100.
Okay.
And there are certain key characteristics. I think he came up with 9 characteristics that all these areas where people live to be exceedingly old, they have in common.
And were some of those relational connections?
100%.
Yeah.
Have your tribe.
That's it.
Have your tribe. There's a word, I think in Okinawa, when you're born, you are kind of assigned. It's kind of like an arranged friendship, like an arranged marriage, and you've got your MOA, MOIAI, I believe it's called, and it's this group that from a little kid, let's say there's 5 of you, you're in this group, and you are there with each other for a life. You're hanging out with each other, and a couple of my buddies and I, we don't always make it, but we have on our calendars Friday morning MOA.
That's good. Man, that's some good parenting that they came up with.
Oh, yeah. They're not playing around. That's what I remember about Okinawa on the Blue Zones. They have their friends, and they eat a lot of fatty pork, which I like. So,
love fatty pork.
More about finding your tribe when we come back on North Georgia Business Radio X. what does your tribe look like? Welcome back to North Georgia Business RadioX. I'm your host, Phil Bonelli. Honored to be here with Mr. Barry Lusk, the youngest-looking 50-year-old on the planet, and the director.
I will take it.
Yeah,
My kids
baby.
have never said such.
They don't want to state the obvious, Barry, but I don't see you every day like they do. Barry is the Atlanta City Director of Iron Forum. So if you're just joining us, go back and listen on the first session. We talked about how much it's important to have a tribe of peers with like values that you can help steer each other correctly, to just do life together, take on life's obstacles together, hold each other accountable, etc. So Iron Forums is a forum for doing that. Tell us, what does this look like practically? How often do you meet? What do the meetings look like? Break it down for us.
Yes, so we have currently 6, though soon to be 8 locations in Metro Atlanta, and we're even moving up here to North Georgia, and we'll talk more about that, I'm sure, later.
All right.
We meet monthly for half a day.
Okay.
And the reason we carve out half the day is because we truly want to get into each other's lives. This is not a forum where we invite the latest and greatest thought leader or business guru or Bible answer man into the room and listen to him for hours upon hours. This is a iron sharpening iron, sharing life, really a chance to live out what we say our values are as a community, which is truth, transparency, traction, and transformation. And so when we gather, first of all, food's very important. We meet at we meet at wonderful venues. Shout out to all you Iron Forums venues. We love you. And chefs, we love you. We have some great meals together. And we do share in some content. Because we're multiple locations, we actually invite our thought leaders to share via video, so we can play that at all of our locations. We have some dialogue around that. It may be a business-oriented topic or a family-oriented topic or a faith-oriented topic. But then really the final 2/3 of the day, Phil, are at small tables with 4 men who have prepared the day before what we call our snapshot. And a snapshot is where they have taken those 3 key areas of life, faith, family, business, and self-assessed the last 30 days. How am I really doing? Again, transparency is a key value. How am I really doing in my spiritual walk? How am I doing in my relationship with my wife, relationship with my kids, in some cases grandkids, and then several key components of business. And so they assess themselves, they bring that snapshot in, and those snapshots become the focal points of conversations around the table. And so it's quite a dialogue. I mean, the ground rules are we definitely give each other permission to interrupt one another, say, you know, maybe the guy skipped ahead to sales, but really what we need to double click in is something he shared in his marriage. Like we'll interrupt and go back. And again, some of what's so powerful in it is guys realize I'm not the only one who has faced this life challenge, this struggle, this difficulty. Or the other side of the coin, I have a group of brothers around me who want to celebrate my successes in areas where I've seen traction in my life or my business world, etc.
All right. If you're just joining us on North Georgia Business RadioX, welcome. I'm here with Mr. Barry Lusk, Atlanta City Director of Iron Forums, and we're talking about community, right? And having your tribe and what that looks like in this context. Now, let me go back, Barry. The 4 T's: truth, transparency, traction, and what was the 4th?
Transformation.
Transformation. Okay. I love that. Now, you mentioned there are 6 locations, moving to 8. And if you're here in Northeast Georgia, you know, we've got a lot of listeners in Gainesville, the Gainesville area.
Yes.
Tell us about what's coming in Gainesville.
Man, I can't wait. In fact, I just met with a dear friend over on the Square. Is it called the Square here?
The Square.
Yeah, downtown Square. We had a great lunch talking about what God is doing in this territory and how there's many Christian entrepreneurs who would benefit from this kind of community up here. And so we are bringing Iron Forums to Gainesville, Georgia within the next few months, actually.
Boom.
And in fact, we have an informational lunch on Thursday, March the 23rd. It's actually going to be at Hopscotch Restaurant. Lunch is on me. So if you know anybody, if you yourself are listening in or you know anybody who would benefit from a community like we're sharing about here, would love to extend the invitation for them to join us for that informational lunch. It's 11:45 on that day, March the 23rd to 1:15.
Awesome. All right, so this is info lunch. So, hey, you want a delicious lunch and learn more. Something has piqued your interest, and you say, this could be something I need.
Yes.
And I want to learn more about. Come and just learn more about it.
Yeah, and my guess would be you'll know some folks who are there.
On that note, if you know some folks you want to bring with you, bring a friend.
Yes.
Do they need to go RSVP online? Is there anything they need to do to register?
I tell you what, if your listeners are interested for themselves or they want to connect someone who may be interested, I'd love for them to reach out to me. Probably the easiest way is my email, which is blusk, BLUSK, @ironforums.org. I'd be happy to personally follow up with anybody who's interested.
Fantastic. blusk @ironforums.org.
You got it.
And again, you want to learn more, come on out. Thursday, March 23rd, coming up soon at Hopscotch Restaurant, which is great. Great spot. Beautiful Gainesville Square.
I hear the food's great there.
That is, I believe, it's just shortly thereafter my youngest's birthday.
All right.
Turning 5.
I hope you're going to join us.
I'll be there.
Good.
I'll be there.
Good.
Okay, so you got these groups. They meet monthly. Really dig in. Let me ask you this, because sometimes, we all have different personality types. What are some things that you see that have been helpful? And, sometimes folks aren't always so comfortable or quick to share. You got any tidbits for getting folks out of their shell? Or is it just, people sign up for this knowing what it is, and so they're going to open up?
Yeah, so that's a great question, Phil. I often hear when I'm talking to men who may be interested in visiting, and I'm sharing with them particularly about that snapshot time. Because around that table, if you bring your snapshot, like, it's your turn. We're focused on you for 30 to sometimes 45 minutes, right? And I've had many guys tell me, I just don't know if I can talk about myself for that long. But it never fails that the timer goes off before he's even finished with a snapshot, because that's the way community works.
Yep.
Dialogue, just like you and I sitting here today, I had no prep for this, but we're having a conversation.
Yep.
And that's really what we're doing around the tables. Now, I would say this, that relationally, it does take time to really dig in, to get to know each other. But what we see happens is it's not a one-off meeting from month to month. Each month and each relationship around that table builds month to month and relationship to relationship. So, Phil, if you and I were at a snapshot table today, I might share with you, something that I know I need to address in my personal life. One of the greatest parts of this community is you're going to ask me, maybe before 30 days from now, but definitely 30 days from now when we're at the table again, you're going to ask me, well, how'd that go? How'd that conversation with Tracy go? How'd that conversation with your employee go?
And let's pick back up on that power of accountability on North Georgia Business Radio X. What's a key to strong relationships? Well, there's several, but one of them is certainly time. Welcome back to North Georgia Business RadioX. I'm your host, Phil Bonelli, here with Barry Lusk of Iron Forums. If you're just joining us, welcome. Please do go back and listen. If you're out there, you're helping run a business or run a division, run anything, running your life, and you sometimes feel, golly, I feel so lonely. I have this mound of worries and stresses. I'm just out here hacking through the jungle on my own. That is not how you're supposed to feel. We're made for a relationship. We're talking about that now. So we were discussing before the break, in the context of Iron Forum, which is a great outlet for Christian business leaders to grow together in community, how these ongoing relationships really develop over time. Trust is built, relationship is built over time. How long have these conversations been going on? When did Iron Forums begin?
Well, Iron Forums actually began 20 years ago.
Wow.
When I was still running around on a college campus doing college ministry. It began in Suwanee, Georgia, 20 years ago.
Okay. And what is I think I would have a good idea of the mission and why it was founded from what we're discussing, but what made the founder kick this off?
Well, he was a business owner, and he wanted to surround himself with like-minded business owners whom he could be sharpened by.
Okay.
And so he had quite a network. He invited, I want to say it was somewhere between a dozen and 15 men to come sit around a table with him. At that time, it was all day long.
Wow.
But yeah, he founded this organization. His name's Gary Smith. He founded this organization because as a business owner, he knew he needed it.
20 years ago.
Yes.
Now, tell us a little bit. You mentioned college ministry 20 years ago. Tell us your story. How did you end up here?
Yeah, so I actually became a Christian in college. I had no spiritual background whatsoever until I went off to college, I mentioned earlier, to turn over a new leaf. Little did I know it would be a complete change of life through a relationship with Christ. And so as I started getting towards the end of my studies, my degree studies, I just began asking God, what do you want me to do? I know what I've been prepared to do as a business finance major at Barry College, but what do you want me to do? And at that point, I had been walking with him for a few years and just really had a strong prompt that he wanted me to do for others what so many others had been doing for me while I was a young college student. So long story short, I accepted an invitation to go on staff with a collegiate ministry.
Okay.
I thought it was a great time to do it right after graduation. I still had energy. I was still relevant to be on the college campus. Well, 18 years later,
wow.
18 years later, God had just done a tremendous work, and it was sometime around age 40 that I decided, you know what, God, thank you for these years doing college ministry, but I'm not up for being in the dorms at midnight trying to drum up Bible studies or basketball games on the college campus. So at that point, I helped a friend locally with a multi-site church.
Okay.
I worked several years there and even a couple of years with a larger multi-site church in Gwinnett County. And then all the while I was getting acquainted with Iron Forums. Actually, my first visit to an Iron Forum in Atlanta was August of 2018.
Okay.
And we were going through a lot with our oldest child. And, I came to the table thinking we were going to really major on leadership skills and how's our organization doing, et cetera. And there was plenty of that. But what was so refreshing to me is I could be honest about some of these relational challenges I was facing and just hear other men say, you know what, I've been there. I've been in that place. Let us pray for you. Let us encourage you. Let us, talk to you over time about how that relationship's going. And so it was through that exposure that, I said, hey, Gary, again, the founder, I said, I know many other men in other parts of this very county who would benefit from a community like this. And so in early 2019, we started the second ever forum in southeast part of Gwinnett County. And, fast forward to today, and like I said, we're going to be launching a couple more to give us about 8 in this area.
If you're just joining us on North Georgia Business RadioX, I'm your host, Phil Bonelli, here with Barry Lusk, Atlanta City Director for Iron Forum. You bring up a great point. We talk a lot about business on this show and leadership, and there's such value in getting together to grow your business. But if your life has problems, you got to deal with those, and to be able to address all these things.
Right.
It's not just we're trying to grow this organization or this campaign, but hey, while I'm doing that, I'm hurting because I'm having an issue with my child.
Yeah, and let's be honest, as we go as leaders of our business or our nonprofit organization, as we go, so the business or organization goes.
Right.
If we're struggling interpersonally, then to some degree, as much as we try to compartmentalize it, the business or organization is going to struggle.
Well, and keep this in mind, audience. I mean, this is so important. And again, if you are feeling alone, you need a tribe. You need a group. I'm going to continue harping on that throughout the show. This is not an Iron Forum commercial. Iron Forum is great. It doesn't have to be Iron Forum. You need to get with a group.
And let me share this too on that, Phil. We often get asked, when are you going to do something like this for the ladies, the female entrepreneurs? And the reality is we do have some partnerships that do similar things like this with women in the marketplace. And if you're hearing this and you're interested in that, then please reach out to me. I'd love to get you connected with some of those opportunities. But there's something unique about men coming together, especially in the 21st century. And I know we're not going to get into that, but there is something very unique and special and God ordained about men coming together to talk about how they're doing personally and under their roof and stewarding their business.
All right, and Barry mentioned reach out to him if you are interested in learning more about opportunities for women business owners, but also for Iron Forums, all the above. Please do reach out to Barry. B. Lusk, BLUSK, at ironforums.org. blusk at ironforums.org. And don't forget, March 23rd, 11:45 at Hopscotch. Come out for a delicious lunch and just learn more about what's going on.
Yeah, I'd love to meet some of you.
So let me ask you this, and we'll have to pick some up after our last break here, but that's a lot of rapid growth. So this organization was going and impacting lives for 17-ish years. 2019 went from 1 location to 2.
Yes.
Now 6, about to be 8.
Yes.
What was the catalyst? What went from what do you think made, besides obviously Barry Lusk joining the crew?
In spite of, you mean? Well, I tell you, the catalyst was our board of directors saw really the Lord's favor on this and came to me and said, would you pray about leaving your current post and coming on with us full-time to give full-time career energy to not only the men we have, but to potential new territories to see this kind of community for more men.
All right, so they brought on this resource. Let's hop into that as soon as we get back from this last break on North Georgia Business RadioX, putting together resources to grow. grow? How do you grow and build your organization? The answer is with the right team. Welcome back to North Georgia Business RadioX. I'm your host, Phil Bonelli, here with the one and only, very youthful yet mature, Barry Lusk. City Director of Atlanta for Iron Forum. Yeah, man, you did good.
You're
did
too gracious.
good.
You're too gracious.
But if you're just joining us, welcome. We're so glad that you're here listening in. You know, hopefully we're here to add value for business, leadership, helping you to run your business and life to the best that you can. Listen back on the show because we talked about something very near and dear to my heart. And forgive me, Barry, quick monologue here.
Sure,
all right,
yeah.
But I just cannot tell you, audience, how much in my life of the good things have come through community. I have been with a group of guys that we get together regularly. A couple of us, we text each other every day, but we get together and we work through things related to life, faith, family, business, and I have grown so much. And if you feel like you're out on your own, I mean, it happens. If you're running an organization and then you're running right from your organization to home, and there are demands at home, and there are issues in all of the places, and sometimes you don't have time, or you feel guilty getting together with friends. You gotta do it. We're made for relationship, hardwired in us. And so you gotta do it. You gotta do it. Iron Forum is a great outlet for that. If you want to go and experience some Iron Forum, March 23rd, downtown Gainesville Square at 11:45. There's going to be a lunch. Barry will be there. I'll be there, and at Hopscotch.
Hopscotch, right?
Come on out, check it out. You want to learn more, but you're not sure if you want to go? Hey, email Barry blusk@ironforums.org. blusk@ironforums.org. The community is so key. Now, let's get back. Before the break, I was asking Barry about Iron Forum's growth because it was tracking. It was just a group. It was adding value.
That's right.
Producing a great product, let's say, and that's how you might be doing your business. You've got this product, it's good, people like it, the market demand is there, you've got satisfied customers you're serving, and you want to grow. Having the right team members is key to growth. So in our story, we were walking through, Barry, so you were brought on, and they said, hey, we want to go and have other locations.
Yes.
All right. So what did you do? How did you go and start these? Because there's been 7 more that have kicked off.
Right. Well, the harvest is plentiful. There are many who have been called to entrepreneurship, right? And so we wanted to go to territories where we could find someone who had a heart to invest in these influencers, these entrepreneur influencers. And so we found a man in Cobb County and a man in Fulton County and a man who's going to come up here to Gainesville. What county is this?
Hall.
At Hall County.
We got it all in Hall, y'all.
Yep, there you go. Oh, I like it. I'll never forget it.
There you go.
And so it really comes down to a man who wanted to invest in a group of other men who, knowing that influence just had ripple effects.
All right, so at each location,
yes,
there is a leader for that location.
There is.
Okay. So that's a key point. So we brought you to help build team.
Yes.
You brought in people to help lead each of those teams.
Yes.
That was, let's say, a specialist in those areas because they were local in that market, which is key.
Yes.
All right. Because as I'm learning about Iron Forums, this is not a top-down thing. This is an iron sharpens iron. It's us. This is our squad, man.
Yes.
We're in this trench together.
Exactly. And again, a lot of it goes back to our roots. It's exactly how we started, that the founder was a business owner who knew that he needed that mutual sharpening. And so would all our facilitators today say the same thing, that they benefit from the community just as much as the community benefits from them.
I love that. When you were tasked on growing this thing, you could have said, all right, I'm going to find groups of guys. I'm going to go set aside a day each month to go lead these things. But no, you empowered local leaders to lead.
Yes.
If you're just joining us on North Georgia Business RadioX, welcome. Please do go back and listen to the prior segments because there's some pure Barry Lusk gold. Go back and listen. But we're talking about empowering really through, or building through empowerment and delegation and community. Or not, I wouldn't say delegation, just empowerment. You know, you got local people, you found the right people, you gave them power, and then you helped support them. So what has been key for you in supporting these individual location leaders to do their best? Yeah.
And by the way, just for clarity, I actually do also facilitate a couple of these myself because I still need it as well.
There you go.
But a lot of it comes down to, like with any relationship, it comes down to communication. It comes down to asking each other the questions, how are we really doing? Being open to feedback. And so if one of my facilitators is visiting one of the forums I facilitate, or vice versa, that we're really open to each other and our feedback, and we want to be eyes and ears for each other in how we're leading and how we're caring for our people, and we're constantly sharing best practices, which again is so developmental because I can learn so much by what but through what another guy has discovered really works in his community, and then bring that into a community I'm leading.
I love that. And you got to constantly refocus yourself on that openness to feedback because it is so much easier said than done. And we are called to be bold and courageous, and it takes courage to both receive and give feedback. And listen, this message is going to Phil Bonelli too, because we were just talking before the show about how I often don't go back and listen to the show because I don't want to hear how my voice sounds. And
I totally relate.
I need the reflection on my performance. So getting feedback from others is key, but then also, you know, with a podcast, radio show, I can listen and critique myself as well as getting it from you.
Absolutely.
So good stuff. All right. Well, so let me ask you this. So right now you've grown from 1 to 6, soon to be 8. Come and visit in Gainesville. What is the long-term vision? What is the 5-year goal for Iron Forum?
I'm glad you asked. Our founder is actually spending time outside of Atlanta and even outside of Georgia to go find other facilitators and even city directors who are interested in bringing this community to their territory. And so we're having conversations with people in Jacksonville, Florida, and Orlando, Florida, and Nashville, Tennessee, and Charlotte, and Dallas. And we want to go to other metro areas over the next 3 to even 10 years to see God do what he's done in Atlanta and just say, would you do it again?
I love it. If you're listening to this and you have some friends who you think could benefit from community in one of these other areas, share this with them. Reach out to blusk at ironforums.org and check it out. Last time, before we wrap up the show, March 23rd. It's a Thursday.
It is a Thursday.
Hopscotch, Gainesville Square, 11:45 to 1:15. Delicious lunch.
Lunch on me.
Lunch on Barry. All right, we haven't been doing this. I meant to, but I always forget. We are going to end with a freestyle, Barry. Don't worry. You don't have to. What are 3 things we should wrap up with about Iron Forum?
What are 3 things we should wrap up with about Iron Forums?
You got to give them to me quick because I got to spit them out.
All right. You're always welcome to come be our guest. It is an open invitation.
Okay.
Secondly, and we've already covered this, but this is important, we love the women in our lives. If you know women who would benefit from a community like this, please invite them in.
All right, perfect. We'll go with those 2. I
I had a great
All right.
one.
Next time. All right. Everybody come and be a guest. There's plenty of room for different little birds coming in the nest. We love the ladies, and we like to celebrate them too. Don't forget, leaders, you need to get your crew together. Iron Forums here on March 23rd. Come check it out for some entrees or hors d'oeuvres. We got a great guest that's coming up next. Thank you, Barry Lusk, for joining us on North Georgia Business RadioX.
Let's go.
You've been listening to North Georgia Business RadioX with Phil Bonelli. What local business do you know that should be highlighted on our program? Let us know. Just search North Georgia Business RadioX on Facebook or contact Bo at businessradiox.com. See you next time, and remember to support our local businesses.